Hey guys, tonight we're going to delve into some of the weirdest superstitions about death in history. Imagine cold toes tucked under cozy blankets, fairy lights casting a warm glow across the room, and the hum of a fan lulling you into a deeper sense of comfort. You probably won't survive this. Just kidding. But brace yourself for a journey that's as peculiar as it is fascinating. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up on an ordinary day, sleepy-eyed and still wrapped in your favorite blanket. As you shuffle toward the bathroom mirror, you suddenly remember that breaking one of these reflective surfaces was once a one-way ticket to 7 years of bad luck. Ancient cultures were particularly wary of mirrors, considering them to be inextricably linked to the soul. It was like those moments after you've ordered takeout, even though you just went grocery shopping. Instant regret, but way more superstitious. The ancient Romans, in their continuous quest to divine every aspect of life, claimed that a person's health was connected to their reflection. Therefore, a broken mirror didn't just mean clumsy cleaning. It was believed to damage the soul itself. You gotta admit, it feels like the ancient equivalent of setting 5 alarms and still ignoring them all. But the good part? They actually thought there was a chance to avoid the misfortune by burying the shards under the full moon. Picture it as the original life hack, except instead of TikTok tips, you're sneaking into the garden like a moonlit ninja with a bag of broken glass. Now, here's where things get elaborately bizarre. In some parts of Sicily, people would get downright theatrical. They thought that if you were to happen upon a broken mirror, you had to sprinkle water over it to pacify the evil spirits. To add a sprinkle of humor, let's just hope they didn't use the last water they fetched from a well a mile away. Kind of like when you let your phone battery hit 2% for the challenge. But really, historians still argue whether these mirror superstitions had any concrete influence on shaping Roman spiritual beliefs, or were merely fragments of overactive imaginations. Some even propose that the fragility of mirrors in the ancient world simply fed into a collective cautionary tale, a gentle reminder to mind both glass and self in their daily lives. Just a mix of practicality and a little bit of fear. This swirling tale of broken mirrors and bad luck is just the tip of the iceberg of countless curious customs around death. So as you lay there, imagine yourself in another time, wrestling with the omens of mirrors not just breaking, but breaking through to another realm. And honestly, it's not much different from staring at unread notifications, hoping they'll just disappear. So, there you go. An icebreaker for your next awkward small talk session, courtesy of ancient Rome's reflective phobia. Tonight is just beginning, and there's so much more to explore. You walk into an ancient Egyptian tomb. Ahem. Well, not literally. You're comfortably in your bed, maybe even wearing mismatched pajamas, because guess what? The ancient Egyptians didn't mind a little flair in their eternal wardrobe choices either. Picture this: preparing for the afterlife like you're booking a luxury cruise that definitely includes all-you-can-eat buffets. Except the buffets are eternal, and they might include a few dishes you wouldn't touch in this lifetime. The Egyptians were meticulous planners, and when it came to their journey into the great beyond, they didn't leave a stone unturned. They believed in a world where their heart was weighed against a feather by the god Ma'at. If your heart was heavier, oops, it was time for the ever-dreaded second death. It's like night mode on your phone was their norm, matching the mood even in the afterlife, right? Now, here's where it gets quirky. The process of embalming was as routine as our morning caffeine fix. It involved everything from oils and resins to natron, a type of salt that magically preserved the body. Fun fact, they thought beer could be a fix for embalmed bodies suffering from dehydration. So, if you've ever wondered why modern remedy myths survive, just remember, some of the most peculiar cures are ancient brews. Okay, so here's the wild part. Historians still argue whether the Egyptians saw the afterlife purely as a spiritual journey, or if it was more about recreating a perfect earthly paradise. Was heaven just a better version of Nile-side living? You can imagine the debates getting as heated as a midnight group chat on whether pineapple goes on pizza. And don't get me started on their afterlife bling. Jewelry wasn't just pretty, it was functional, meant to protect their spirits. Imagine hitting a jewelry sale because you're more worried about ghostly intruders than looking snazzy. Some of them even included magic spells inscribed on gems. That's a new level of Pinterest DIY charm, don't you think? If you're lying there, trying to imagine how you'd plan your own forever getaway, just remember, you might not have to order a gold-plated coffin, but maybe have a comfy pillow like the Egyptians did for their rest. It's like keeping 27 tabs open on your laptop. Feels like a safety net, just in case. So, as you settle deeper into your pillow, remember that those ancient dreamers saw death as a new beginning. But they were all about making sure it was as luxurious as possible. And honestly, can you blame them? As you imagine yourself settling into an ancient Egyptian tomb and its intriguing prep work, let's pivot a little. Picture fluffy clouds of hair in places you'd least expect it, continuing to grow after people have taken their final bow. Welcome to the mysterious world of posthumous hair growth. Historians have long puzzled over this eerie notion that hair, and sometimes nails, keep elongating even after life hits pause on everything else. Alright, so here's the scoop. It's more of an optical illusion. When the body dehydrates, the skin retracts, making hair and nails appear longer. Picture letting your instant noodles sit a bit too long, and they puff up, surprising you. It's kind of like that, but, with historical bodies. Still, the myth managed to seam its way through time like an old wives' tale that no one bothered to fact-check. Now, imagine being a barber back in the day. Your version of working from home involved penning letters by candlelight, and then bam, the town starts buzzing about a hairy grave. You might have the closest thing to job security, even beyond the grave. If people actually believed this illusion was reality, that is. The quirky side note here is even more fashionable. The Victorians, notorious for their fascination with all things morbid, loved crafting jewelry out of hair, human hair, mind you, often as a token to remember the dearly departed. It's like crafting a meme out of a historical event, gesture of sentiment, or a little cringe, depending on your view. The debate that drifts behind these flowing locks concerns how such beliefs perpetuated amidst societal fears of death. Historians still argue whether these myths fuel our understanding of bodily decay or serve as mere spooky tales awkwardly transitioning into folklore. It feels a bit like updating your resume while lying on the floor. an exercise both necessary and wrought with curious questions. As you tuck your feet under your blanket a little more securely, consider this. Perhaps our ancestors found comfort in these hair-raising fables. After all, some stories are just like those cleaning videos we binge watch, instead of actually doing the chore. You get the gist, but choose the comfort of the cozy narrative. In the end, even the oddest tales come woven with threads of truth, humor, and a sprinkle of fuzzy socks warmth. So, wherever you're lounging, maybe pop on a cozy playlist and let these ancient strands of stories lull you ever so softly closer to tomorrow. You walk through the dimly lit streets of ancient Rome, where pesky ghosts and roguish spirits were more than just campfire tales. The Romans had an elaborate system for ghost-proofing their houses that makes today's expensive home alarm systems feel a bit redundant. Imagine dealing with a haunting the way you'd tackle a frustrating software update, only instead of tech support, you'd rely on a bizarre ritual. Let's unravel some of their whimsical strategies to keep those unwanted spirit guests at bay. One common belief held that sprinkling mustard seeds throughout your home could confuse ghosts, much like having a desktop littered with miscellaneous icons confuses your mind. I mean, who wouldn't find themselves profoundly daunted by a patchwork of teeny tiny seeds? The ghosts, stumped and bewildered, were supposedly powerless to cause further havoc. Just sprinkle and let chaos work its magic, I guess. Here's a side note worth a chuckle. One forgotten old wives' tale involved donning your clothes inside out to ward off evil spirits. Picture a Roman citizen, toga flipped in an inside-out attempt to keep spirits at bay. It's like walking out of the house still wrapped in your blanket, cozy and awkwardly certain you're warding off unwanted interactions. This wild anti-ghost fashion statement hints at the larger, ongoing debate among historians. Did these quirky rituals stem from sincere spiritual beliefs, or were they simply ancient stress busters, a way of bringing a semblance of control over an unpredictable world? Historians still argue whether the Romans saw these as genuine protections or just comfort rituals. And really, that's like sending a LOL without actually laughing. Sometimes a ritual, sometimes just an auto-response to the ghosts of social expectations. It's understandable why such beliefs would persist. Every age has its mysteries, its unexplained, and its rituals to cope. So, as you drift further into relaxation, wrapped in a quilt of ancient banter and modern musings, let these autumnal Roman whispers guide you softly through the flickering dusk of history, scattering seeds of curiosity through your dreams. Imagine now, my friend, you find yourself in a quaint, ancient village where the night is filled with quiet whispers and the occasional howl of, well, a dog. But this isn't the start of a neighborhood concert. It's a significant omen causing worry among the villagers. The old belief dictated that if a dog howled near a wake, it foretold misfortune or even impending death in the community. It's the kind of superstition that makes you second-guess a late-night stroll under the moon with your furry buddy. Here's a tidbit that might amuse you. Dogs have been both adored and feared across different cultures, seen as guides to the afterlife in places like Egypt, yet ominous symbols of death elsewhere. It's like the ancient version of receiving mixed signals from a crush. Confusing, yet significantly impactful. Imagine telling your pup the stakes of a midnight howl, only to have them look at you with that unmistakable, "Are you serious?" face. In comes a quirky twist. In some folklore, placing a pair of socks by the doorway was thought to placate the tension caused by uncanny tones from the canine choir. Yes, socks. Those cozy wonders we're all too familiar with, even more cherished when they come straight from the dryer, wrapped in the lingering perfume of fabric softener. But historians still squabble over whether this belief led dogs to become unwanted, when really, they could have just been singing their hearts out to an ancient moon karaoke set list. Are these tales reflective of our complex relationship with these faithful four-legged friends? Or did they merely blossom from wild communal anxieties, simmering in the night air like tales told around the warmth of a campfire? So, next time your own pet pup decides it's a good night for a serenade, you might just smile, snug and amused, beneath your favorite blanket. Let it remind you that some myths, like our sleepy chats, are born of mysteries, love, and a little bit of humor. As you sink deeper into that delicious relaxation, the soft melodic sway of time will carry you ever so gently toward the promise of morning. You find yourself transported to the chilly shores of a Viking stronghold, where firelight flickers against the backdrop of a cold, relentless sea. Gather around, because tonight's ritual isn't just any send-off. It's a full-blown flamingo festival of the afterlife, metaphorically speaking. Vikings, renowned for their fiery farewells, saw funerals as a stepping stone to Valhalla, a sumptuous hall of eternal glory by way of blazing longships. Here's where it gets delightfully peculiar. Alongside oaths of battle and glory, there was a belief that dressing the deceased in flamboyant attire that surely could match any quirky, colorful TikTok trend today, would ease their journey to the afterlife. Let's pause here. Imagine explaining that kind of wardrobe to an overthinker expecting monochrome. Because afterlife needs pizzazz, darling. There's a special place for flamingos. Well, more accurately, the flaming style associated with their funerals. Though not real flamingos, their representation in fiery palettes added a flair that mirrored the birds' vividness, a visual spectacle heralding their legendary passage. Now, historians still debate the exact significance of such bright colors in Viking rituals. Were they symbolic of protection, offering camouflaged hope against the moody Nordic skies? Or more of a statement, a celestial RSVP declaring, "I have arrived"? It's akin to marking your calendar with exuberant stickers, not just reminders, but celebrations of life's journey in sticky brilliance. With the night thickening, gently draw yourself tighter into your blanket's embrace. Consider how launching into the unknown, in flames, colors, and maybe missed travel cues, threads its way through human history. Much like having your mismatched pajamas inadvertently nail a grand theme, sometimes we all blaze differently into the adventures of history. And, just like your trusty fuzzy slippers, grounding you as we wander these tales, know that your own adventures weave seamlessly into tomorrow's fabric. Cozy up. Our sleepy journey's warmth, like a whispered story, sways softly with the promise of daybreak near. Now, imagine journeying through the misty woods of Scandinavia, where the air is laced with whispers and everything feels just a bit enchanted. These aren't just any forests. They hum with tales of spirits and hidden beings that could charm or curse, depending on who you ask. It's like stumbling into an old, mossy library, where each tree has its own story. Some written in the rustling of leaves, others in the creaking of branches as they sway. Legend has it that these whispers carried the voices of the Huldra, mysterious forest spirits that could either bestow blessings or bewilder travelers. the northern lights, dancing across the sky, were sometimes thought to be the spirit's very breath, an ethereal light show that Instagram could never capture. If you're laying there imagining yourself in the scene, it's somewhat like the casual wonder of scrolling through nature reels late at night, hoping for that magical, soothing moment before sleep finds you. The real giggle-worthy part of these tales? Some believed wearing your clothes backwards would confuse the Huldra into letting you pass through their enchanted woods unharmed. Is it practical? Or does it feel like another quirky sartorial hack? Either way, this inside-out fashion statement might just be the perfect icebreaker for bygone Scandinavian spirits. Historians still argue whether these smoothly spun tales of forest spirits were earnest beliefs or enchanting narratives designed mainly to keep children tucked safely by the hearth. This debate is a lot like those late-night Google searches for how to get my life together, a pursuit of clarity that feels both profound and elusive. So as you nestle deeper into your soft cocoon, and the room falls silent except for the comforting hum of the fridge, imagine those ancient woods and the souls that roamed them, each whisper a lullaby weaving through your dreams. The spirits may have stayed hidden, but their stories surely crept into every hearthside conversation, much like the gentle warmth lingering on your skin. As you sway in the embrace of this ancient melody, let the dreams float alongside the soft susurrus of leaves, carrying you toward a tranquil dawn. Picture yourself in the quaint English countryside, where long ribbons of bottle trees stretch across the fields. This is more than just a quirky garden choice. It's a tradition that held mystical significance. We're talking about an early form of spirit trapping, where bottles hung on trees were believed to capture wandering spirits at night. It's like the ancient version of setting differing login passwords to avoid unwanted visitors. Walking past these trees, you'd hear the wind blowing through the bottles, a melody of eerie harmonics that sounds like a forgotten tune, a tune only the night knows by heart. It's almost poetic when you think about it, leaving those bottles out like unwritten text messages to the netherworld. Imagine explaining that to a modern-day friend, capturing the scene for their TikTok followers. This is where we bottle up our past, literally. There's a chuckle-worthy backstory, too. Some believed these bottled spirits were so enthralled by the tinkling and humming of their new glass homes that they completely forgot to bother the living. It's as if a shiny object in the App Store caught their attention mid-haunt. Honestly, you can see why some might start doubting if forgetting your purpose might be the greatest trick of all. And, in typical scholarly fashion, historians are torn as to whether bottled trees truly had a protective function or served as a fading tapestry of folklore. Was it genuine belief, interwoven with whimsy, or an early form of yard decor spurred by communal tales? Like staring at unread emails, the truth may simply hang just beyond the nearest bough, waiting to be uncorked. As you sink a little deeper into your pillow, let the rhythm of these ancient tunes float through your thoughts. Each breeze softens like a sigh, carrying tales through the trees, reassuring you that with each passing night, the threads of mystery and simplicity quietly wrap their arms around you, leading you into the realm of dreams where all things whisper softly into the timeless night. Now, imagine meandering through the lush green fields of Ireland, where the mist hangs thoughtfully over rolling hills like a soft, whispery blanket. Here, amid tales of leprechauns and fairies, you stumble upon an age-old custom that seems as cozy as it is whimsical. leaving fairy doorways open. These portals, often found in tree trunks or nestled by flower beds, were like a welcoming call for fey travelers, ensuring that the mystical guests were treated with respect and hospitality. Picture them as the ultimate old-school hospitality gesture, a reserved VIP lane, but for fairies. For the old Irish, these tiny doors were more than just wooden charms. They were believed to hold a treaty of goodwill between humans and the fair folk. It's akin to pinning a respectful meme out into the digital universe, sending good vibes without expecting anything in return. Isn't that the dream? The lighthearted bit. It was genuinely believed that if you closed these doors too hastily, or heaven forbid, accidentally built over a fairy ring, mischief would ensue. Imagine warning a new homeowner, "Oh, and don't mind your hyperactive Wi-Fi signal. You might have displaced a few fairies." Historians still argue whether these open doorways were an earnest cultural belief, blended deeply into daily life, or simply a delightful nod to the region's abundant storytelling culture. Was it cautious respect for the unseen, or just another yarn spun around the hearth? Much like an animated discussion in a muted group chat that somehow keeps your phone's night mode working overtime. So, as you lay there, wrapped in the comfort of your blanket, imagine how these tales, like gentle echoes of soft Irish accents, invite you to dream of worlds where magic and reality blur under a moonlit sky. The night breathes its gentle lullabies, and as the mist gathers and dances, it might just be that those fairy doors are ever so slightly ajar, inviting you to join their quiet, enchanted reverie. The realm of sleep beckons you softly, laden with stories only the dreamers hear. Warm and unburdened by the waking world, you wander into a rustic kitchen scene where butter churns stand as silent witnesses to an unfolding tale. Long ago, this staple of dairy delight held more than just its rich, creamy taste. It was wrapped up in superstition and folklore in ways we might chuckle at today. Think of it as the dairy aisle drama, a soap opera worthy of the churn, the mystery of bewitched butter. Imagine an unsuspecting milkmaid discovering that her butter simply wouldn't set. Rather than blame the heat or an oversight in churning technique, the neighbors might have leaned out over garden fences, whispering tales of mischief and magic. Someone put a spell on your butter. Essentially, it was neighborhood gossip with a sprinkle of supernatural for flavor. Here's where the funny part comes in. To reverse such a calamity, villagers might employ the use of horseshoes pinned above the door, or even better, a boiling pot of pins topped with a charming rhyme meant to undo the hex. Admit it, doesn't it remind you of switching phones off and on multiple times, hoping your tech problems disappear like magic? Historians still puzzle over whether these superstitions sprang from a real fear of witches and curses, or if it stemmed from the human love of a good story, a good bit of entertainment to lighten a lengthy day of farm labor. Was it genuine belief, or simply the era's equivalent of sending anxious late-night messages, hoping for solutions but expecting none? Reclining in the comfort of your evening retreat, imagine that same rustic warmth settling over your room. The tales of misbehaving butter and magical mishaps swirl like gentle laughter, weaving a tapestry of coziness. Outside, the world softly shifts under the night's calm breath, and within this quiet, snug bubble of warmth, you're free to drift into the folds of dreams, where bedtime stories continue, unhurried through the silence. Let your thoughts swirl like those tales of old, easing you into slumber, where myths and reality playfully intertwine. In the soft embrace of a serene evening, you find yourself wandering through the bustling streets of ancient China. Everywhere, people are preparing for a unique ritual that's both a celebration and a somber remembrance: burning spirit money. This practice, steeped in tradition, aims to send wealth to ancestors residing in the afterlife. It's like the ultimate offshore account, accessible only through flames. Imagine this. Families gather under glowing lanterns, carefully folding joss paper into shapes of currency, or sometimes even paper objects like cars and houses. They then send them skyward with the hope that their ancestors enjoy their newfound riches from beyond. It's kind of like sending emojis in lieu of heartfelt messages, conveying more than mere words, the quirkier aspect. Some families eventually started burning paper versions of modern-day luxuries. Think paper iPhones or gadgets. Talk about keeping up with the celestial Joneses. What if our ancestors really had spirited group chats over who got the latest model, right? There's a lingering debate among historians whether this was originally a respectful offering or a clever societal method to alienate economic disparities. Like the ancient version of deciding whether you really need that new gadget, or if retail therapy is curiously becoming your hobby. Was it sheer devotion, or an innovative twist on tradition, evolving and expanding like the digital clouds of storage your phone constantly warns you about? So, as you curl up tightly into the folds of your warm evening cocoon, imagine those flickering paper remembrances transforming into sparks, playing gently against the moonlit sky. Maybe they carry messages of love, or just laughter that has traveled untouched by time. In the depths of night, nestled snugly, your dreams may wander farther, playing among the stars with stories flicked alight by ambition and tender memory. As the soft hum of the night ebbs and flows around you, surrender to the calm, letting it cradle your thoughts lovingly toward the dawn's welcoming embrace. As we drift further into the heart of history, let's slip into the dimly lit parlors of Victorian England, a time shrouded in mystery and a touch obsessed with the morbid, where death was not just an end, but often an elaborate affair. Picture this: mourning as an art form, where people went to what we might call extreme lengths to commemorate the dearly departed. It's like a long-running series that refuses to say goodbye. In these shadowed rooms, you'd find the peculiar phenomenon of mourning portraits. Families would stage elaborate photographs of their lost loved ones, often seated, eyes artificially brightened, maybe even propped as if in deep contemplation. Imagine the OP, original poser, where everyone was silent and serious. It's kind of like when someone says, "Smile for the photo," while you do your best mannequin impression. The chuckle-worthy part? Mourning garb was so extensive, it occasionally created a secondary economy. People engaged tailors for their so-called mourning wardrobes, while others profited from selling elaborate hair jewelry. Yes, jewelry made from the hair of the deceased. Talk about wearing your sentiment on your sleeve, or neck, quite literally. But historians still debate, was this vast industry of mourning a genuine extension of grief, or a social performance designed to display one's wealth and status? Did it serve as solemnity or social climbing? Kind of like debating whether the Friends reunion genuinely rekindled friendships, or was just really good TV. Either way, the intricacies of these customs remain a poignant reminder that for every mourning veil, there was a whispered story. As your eyelids grow heavy and your room softly recedes into a tranquil blur, imagine the rich tapestries of the past, the gentle rustle of morning silk, and flickering candlelight casting warm shadows across faces from 100 years ago. Let your thoughts wander through these gilded halls of time, where every corner holds a memory, every whisper a tale. Let their mysteries wrap you snugly as the promise of restful dreams leads you through the quiet, embracing night. Sleep now, and let history guide you softly toward tomorrow's dawn. Picture yourself along the expansive, untamed coastlines of Australia, where the restless sea whispers tales of yore. Among them, you might catch the eerie lore of whale ghosts, spectral leviathans that roam the seas, their haunting songs weaving between the waves like melancholic lullabies. For some coastal Australians, these spectral whispers were more than just bedtime stories. They were believed to be the echoes of whales that met unfortunate fates, leaving behind ghostly echoes to wander the waters. It's fascinatingly spooky, a bit like hearing a distant radio play through an ancient seashell. Now, here's the twist worthy of a light chuckle. Some folks were convinced that meeting a ghost whale, especially during a full moon, was an omen of stormy weather to come. Imagine there's a fisherman, reluctant to sail, blaming it not on the foreboding dark clouds, or even the jittery smart weather app on his phone, but rather on the ghostly outline of a whale seen gliding silently beneath the waves. One quirky aside here, some tales tell of maritime explorers using these ghost stories as navigational aids, much like modern-day sailors might follow the current GPS. If a ghost whale was spotted off the port side, it must have meant the local pub was just a little further down the shoreline. Mood lighting by haunted sea creatures. Talk about maritime mood lighting, right? Historians scratch their heads, and a few even argue whether these sea specters were metaphors for uncharted waters or embedded warnings wrapped up in legend. Did they represent environmental awareness before its time? Or were they simply night tales inspired by the passing silhouette of a migrating pod beneath a silvery moonlit sea? It's kind of like debating whether the surge in digital minimalism is genuine sustainability or just another fleeting trend. As the night settles back over your world, bringing with it soft whispers of the ocean tides miles away, let the imagery of ghostly whale song hum through the churning waves of your imagination. Let it be an ethereal reminder of how entwined folklore and nature were, and continue to be, in the tapestry of human experience. Beneath the gentle covers of sleep, you may just find yourself adrift in a dream, gently rocked by ancient nautical lullabies, their cadences calming as you drift toward morning. As you slowly find comfort in the rhythm of the ocean's embrace, let's journey into the heart of the Aztec Empire, where a different kind of sound filled the air, one much more spine-tingling than the calming call of whales. We're about to uncover the eerie, bone-chilling notes of the Aztec death whistle, designed not just as a musical instrument, but as a tool to invoke fear in the hearts of enemies, or perhaps even the living. You see, the Aztecs believed in capturing the essence of nature, and nothing did that quite like the unearthly wail of these whistles, often used during ceremonies and battles to mimic the wails of the dead. It's the antique version of a jump scare tactic, enough to make even today's horror aficionados shiver. Imagine a legion of warriors descending upon your village with these hidden horrors, each note echoing like a banshee through the mountains. It's the sound equivalent of those unexpected email notifications that startle you when you're mid-binge watch, only scarier and likely less mundane. What's particularly chuckle-worthy, in a shiver-while-you-snuggle kind of way, is the idea that some historians speculate these instruments were sometimes used just to spook neighboring city-states. Like a prank more elaborate than the surprise fidget toy on your desk, or maybe the ancient equivalent of sending a mysterious, unexpected group chat GIF that has everyone buzzing. And here lies the open-ended debate. Historians still argue whether the primary purpose of these whistles was to ward off spiritual threats or simply to amplify the Aztec might in earthly conflicts. Did they serve a profound spiritual purpose, or were they mostly for psychological warfare? It's reminiscent of deciphering whether that urgent last-minute meeting update email has a vital topic or just a chat about chat etiquette. As you nestle back into your blankets, allow your mind to imagine those hauntingly beautiful sounds, floating like ethereal tendrils across the dense forest canopy, whispering untold stories across the ages. Enveloped in the softness of your sleep-bound sanctuary, let the ancient winds of time carry you forward into dreams filled with history's melodies, gently echoing like lullabies meant just for you, until morning beckons softly at the horizon. In the luminous halo of the cosmos, picture yourself gazing upward, much like ancient astronomers did, tracing the delicate arc of comets streaking across the night sky. For those in times long past, these celestial wanderers were more than cosmic visitors. They were mysterious omens, hailing change, occasionally doom, and perhaps a whisper of celestial wisdom. Imagine peering into the heavens, the comet's tail unfurling like radiant yarn against the velvet sky, sparking both wonder and dread. Comets, to many ancient people, were seen as portents. These celestial guests were often blamed for misfortunes, wars, or the fall of empires. It's as if an unreadable text went viral, with everyone instinctively feeling its weight, yet only guessing its true intent. You might find yourself chuckling at the idea of leaders scrambling not for social media reactions, but nervously trying to interpret the sky's status update during times of cometary arrivals. A curious tale weaves its way through history, where one specific comet's return consistently coincided with unrest. Halley's Comet, often even sketched into footholds of battle records. Like a cosmic commentator, imagine living in those times, a medieval observer glancing skyward, feeling a chill run down the spine, akin to hovering over a send email button with some regrets and a lot of trepidation. Historians still debate, were these celestial events documented as convenient scapegoats to justify geopolitical upheavals or endearingly sincere interpretations of fate's grand spectacle? Were comet sightings divined as divine interventions shaping destiny, or were they just dramatic footnotes, lending an air of mystery to the timelines they intersected? It's almost like deciding whether your phone's motivational quote app in the morning actually sets your day, or just cheekily tags along. So, with your head nestled deeply into your plush pillow, eyeing not the skies, but the quiet ceiling above, let your dreams contemplate this majestic dance of shadow and light, the comets that raced fires through our ancestors' souls. Allow their age-old dance to whisper softly through tonight's dreams, guiding your thoughts safely through the night and ushering them gently towards a tranquil dawn. As you drift effortlessly into slumber, the universe's celestial ballet plays on, embracing the beauty of your dreams and the unfolding chapters of peaceful rest.